Okay, so as I just keep going, I'll just work with the shape. Now, when you're painting a design, try not to copy a mountain exactly. Try to put your own type of creativity in the mountain, just so you can, make it your own. Like, don't try not to trace a line drawing for a mountain, because the only way you'll learn about shape is when you start working with the brush and taking a step back all the time and seeing what you like. The beauty with oils is if you don't like it, you can just take your palette knife and scrape as much of it as you want off and just basically start all over again. With acrylics, if you don't like what you've done, 99.9% of the time, any mountain that you've blocked in is fixable. But if you just don't want to work with something you've already painted, then with an acrylic you could just apply a few coats of acrylic gesso and then you can start all over again. Okay, so with this here, I'm just going to straighten this out just a little bit more like that. I'm not quite sure I like that peak the way that is, so I think what I'll do is I'll bring that out just like this. Oh, now it looks really bumpy. And then I'll bring this one out. So we can just create a shape a little bit. Okay? And we can work down here. So we don't see any repetitive patterns starting. Okay, that's one thing you have to make sure. Now in here, there's quite the long one here, so I'm going to put a little bit of piece right there. So this is probably going to come in front here. And you'll see this when you work on your own panels. You'll see the shapes that your mountain actually takes place. You'll see the shapes that your mountain takes as you start painting it. And you start to see the rock formations, especially if you don't overblend the colors on your palette. And we'll just bring this in here. It's going to be really, really rocky. Now this shape here, I'm not liking what I've done here. It's too round. Okay, where everything else has got some nice hard edges on here. This is too round. Very easy to fix. I'm going to start on the left here. And there we go. Let's hold this up here. And in here, I'll come in and I can create that shape in here. Bring a bit of that color down. I'm running out of paint. I'm going to pick up some more. Not all mountains are pointy at the top. Okay. So now we've got a nice interesting shape there. Okay. Then I'll just take the rest of the paint and I'll just put in some strokes in here. And you'll notice I'm changing the direction that I'm putting that brush down, because as I'm doing this, it's where I'm going over on top of layers and top of layers, I'm seeing formation starting with the rocks. Don't overblend on your palette, or on your canvas I should say. Very, very important, because if you overblend, then you're just going to be mixing all the colors. And I ran out of paint, so I'm going to pick up a little bit more of those same colors. They don't match, I don't care. All I'm doing is I'm making sure that there isn't any canvas showing through. Now you can see how easy this would be then to do in acrylics as well. You could do this very easily in acrylics. The only thing is you just have to make sure that your brush and paint stay damp. That's the only difference. One thing I like to do, and you'll need, if you're working with oils, you need lots of paper towel. One thing that I like to do just right on the offset is I like to blend the bottom of my mountain. Now remember, if we're doing an actual painting, you're going to have other elements, let's say with trees, or you'll have other things happening. But for the purpose of this study, it's usually good practice just to blend the bottom just so you don't have anything harsh happening here. Okay, and normally you would do this on a wet on wet technique where that will blend in with the base. Okay, and I'm just kind of pushing the brush up because what this is doing is creating a little bit of mist. Okay, all this in here would be your whatever foreground material you're gonna put in here. So this creates a little bit of mist, doing it this way. Okay. And the other thing that we can do, which is beyond the scope of this workshop, is that you can create a reflection of the mountain in the water as well. You can actually just pull that down. Like this, it just creates a reflection. That's beyond this workshop though. We get into reflections in upcoming studies. I'm just going to clean this up. There we go. Okay, so when you do a mountain, you would normally just clean up the bottom. Okay, so in this one here, we did the same thing. You just basically just kind of soften the bottom area here. When you're working with something that has a foreground in it, like something in front of the mountains, so you bring down the reflection, and this is all the trees here. The mountains are so far back, you wouldn't have, depending on the angle that you're looking at, you may not see the reflection of the mountains. And the misting, you probably can't see, but there's a little light misting right back here where I misted the mountains. Not too much. So again, depending, if this was just a water scene, then yeah, you would really mist that and soften out the bottom.